Good morning. Arsenal 5, Crystal Palace 0. Man, what a great result. Um, I just pulled an all-nighter. The game was at 4:30 a.m. here in California. I'm all um, pretty caffeinated. Um, yeah, so I stayed up all night. Watched and it was worth it. Um, Great result. Gabriel, man of the match for me. He scores two goals. I think they only gave him one. I think they counted the second one as an own goal. Um, but overall, Arsenal played. They didn't even play that good of a game. Honestly, I mean they did obviously with a 5-0 result, but I feel like Crystal Palace was poor. They were okay. They were average at best. They didn't have Olise. But yeah, excellent result. Gabriel opens up the score with a header, great header. He just beats Richards, their defender. He kind of um, just beats him to the ball, just jumps over him, kind of like jumps over his shoulder. Um, but yeah, so I feel like Saliba, Gabriel, Rice, just the whole defensive spine was excellent, excellent. I just love seeing them play out of the back. The whole defense was great. Zinchenko, I love seeing him, go and invert pretty much, go into the middle. Martinelli gets two goals at the end, um, and Martinelli gets those pretty much identical goals, in that exact same spot that he pretty much scores most of his goals. The best spot that you want him in to be finishing. And even if you look at his heat map, his shooting heat map, that's exactly the area where he scores all his goals, where he gets all his shots, on target. Um, right to the left of the penalty spot, um, is where you want Martinelli with the ball. And that's where he got the ball a few times. Excellent game for Martinelli as well. Um, Smith Rowe got a few minutes, looked decent. Um, Rice came off a little early. Rice actually had a pretty decent average game for his standards. The standouts were definitely Gabriel and Saliba. Saliba just good, so good in distributing, and Gabriel with his two goals. It was just so good to get three goals in the first half to start the game with a goal early. Raya had a great game. Gives that pass for the fourth goal, I believe, to, I don't know if it was Jesus or to another player that passes it to Jesus. Gives it to Trossard, who cuts in. Pretty much breaks him an ankle. The defender pretty much slips, and buries it. Excellent finish. Um, but yeah, just a great result. Saka had a quiet game. I saw him working more defensively than offensively. Very quiet. Didn't really see him. He had a shot or two kind of outside of the box, just off target. Still not great. Probably not. Definitely not his best game. Havertz a little quiet too. Everyone had a decent game. One thing I noticed with Havertz, definitely not my um, definitely not hasn't impressed me. Like I I try to see like the good aspects of his game, and one of the best aspects that I have noticed is just like his layoffs. How he just his one touch passes, how he just lays it off for other people as soon as he receives it. He's really good at that. Um, But yeah, he had a decent game. Jorginho came on as a sub for Rice. Uh, Gives an excellent pass to I think Martinelli for one of the goals. Um, so yeah, Jorginho gives an assist, I believe. Just an excellent pass for that goal for one of Martinelli's goals. Um, but yeah, set pieces, excellent. What was it? Two goals of set pieces. And I thought it was funny the coach, the commentator. He was just kind of commenting about how the set piece coach is like always like on the tactical box, like during set pieces, during corners and free kicks. And he's just kind of like making fun of that. He's like, when do you see like set piece coaches like what's the point of like him being? Because I've wondered that too. Because the camera always cuts to the set piece coach like when they score or when they get scored on or whatever, and he's always like kind of like at the edge of the box, like if he's a like if he's the coach. Yeah, I think it's kind of funny. Yeah, he was just questioning like, what's the point of that? Like he's trying to get credit, or he's trying to get a better view, or trying to get blamed, or yeah, I don't know exactly. Yeah, I'm not that used to the set piece coach out there being like looking like a coach. Um, but yeah, just excellent result. I think Arsenal's back in third place now. Brentford plays a little later. Nottingham Forest against Nottingham Forest. South Korea tied 2-2. Kind of watching the highlights right now. I think the Sun gets a penalty at the beginning. Um, but yeah, it's definitely not a good result for South Korea. There's been a lot of upsets, definitely in the African Cup. A lot of upsets. Cape Verde upsetting South Korea. You would think they would they would win this. Japan lost against Iraq, I think yesterday or 2 days ago. Um, but yeah, be updating on the Asian Cup, African Cup. Um, what else? RB Leipzig plays Bayer Leverkusen later today. That's gonna be a good game. We'll see how that goes. Um, but yeah, and I just wanted to comment one last thing that I think is that I want to mention too is Zinchenko's kind of importance in passing. And I wanted to point out he's pretty much the top progressive passer in Europe in the top 5 leagues right now. If you go on FBref and you just go on progressive passes in the big 5 European leagues, for players that have played more than like 10 games all season, so more than like half games, Zinchenko is pretty much on top. And what's interesting is that Xhaka is second. So Zinchenko is pretty much number one for players that have more than 10 games played. And he has 12 progressive passes per 90. And Xhaka has 11.9. So they're pretty much the top two. And kind of like to highlight the importance of like progressive passing that I've noticed. If you see the other top progressive passers, Rodri is number three, 11.2, I believe. Then it's Modric, Kimmich, Cruz, Hakimi, Barella, Declan Rice, Frankie De Jong, Madison before he got injured, Kevin Stoger from Bochum. But yeah, it's kind of something that I've been paying attention to. Like just these stats that seeing like the players that come up on the top of this list kind of highlights a little bit how important progressive passes is. Shaka's having a pretty good season with Bayer Leverkusen, and kind of like the fact that it's Zinchenko number one and Shaka number two kind of Shows a little bit how Zinchenko, especially today, and most of the games, how he's been inverting um, into that midfield role. It's like really interesting to see how clear it is, how Saliba pretty much like stays in the middle. He's kind of like the center back. Then Gabriel, pretty much when they're in possession, Gabriel goes to left center back, White goes right center back, and then Zinchenko inverts right next to Rice. And it's very interesting to see how like pretty much Zinchenko's like um, substitutes into that left center midfield role when in possession, when building up, uh, and kind of replacing that role that Xhaka had last season. Um, and kind of seeing those stats kind of like points that out. Um, that he's kind of been like not the replacement, especially since he's not the exact same position, but he's kind of replaced that output in terms of like progressive passes. Because at least Xhaka, I don't know what his numbers were last year, but that's what Arsenal. One of the things that Arsenal wanted to or has missed with Xhaka was as his build up, his progressive play. And I don't know, like Arteta or like the team see that and see that importance of. I mean, obviously they see that, but like the stats, like they notice that like that pretty much identically, like in terms of progressive passes, that he's pretty much replaced his output. But yeah, I thought that was interesting how Zinchenko's like number one progressive passer in all of Europe, um, and yeah, and then when you see, just trying to go through real quick. Uh, should I talk about shot conversion or just should I do progressive carries real quick if I can pull that up? Okay, and well, if you see a progressive carries, you'll see that all the kind of highlights all the best dribblers in the top 5 leagues, right? Like Doku's on top with 8 games played, 8.6 games played. Yeah, it's probably number one of like with a decent amount of games. 11 progressive carries per match. Um, then you go. Then you see Dembele with. Yeah, I'll see exactly how many, but Dembele, Mitoma, um, all these players. Like I feel like those two stats, progressive carries shows kind of like the best dribblers. Um, yeah, pretty much the best dribblers, and progressive passes kind of highlights the best passers in terms of build up, because Rice is up there, Zinchenko's up there, all the best passers are always up there. So yeah, I think it's important to those two stats are important to pay attention to. Um, but yeah, great result. So happy I pulled this all nighter to watch this. Definitely worth it. But yeah, I'll be posting more. Come on, you Gunners. Peace.